This is Bobby streaming live from the Macon County Public Library. This is the September 2023 meeting of the Fontana Regional Library Board. I'm starting the video a little early to give you room to gather in to start watching. The meeting starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all very much for watching. As is typical for the last several months, it's a standing room only meeting. There has been considerable public interest in books that they want banned or do not want banned.
They got a place for you to sit? They have a place for you to sit?
Stand over here.
Okay, well, I was going to say, man.
Aggravate Bob.
We had a great time meeting Carol Ann. Yeah, a lot of trouble. I said, Carol Ann, you drive that big bus? He said, I just love Danny. I said, we love Danny just as much as Fantastic.
I didn't know if you were coming, so I guess you're watching.
What's that?
Seems like it's so absurd that I have to show you how absurd it was. So, it's sexually explicit. Shut up. No, you always talk down to me. So why don't you go read the email that I wrote that is responding to what you tried to tell me? You want to text me and tell me to control me. But now you have to want to talk to me. Yes, you did. Okay, go. Go away. Go away. Go away. Just as time.
Test audio, 1, 2, 3. Tell him to shut the door. The fight's about to start.
Sorry, I was about to shut the doors. Hey, how are we doing?
Pull the chair out. We're locked in, people.
Just after 4, I'm going to go ahead and call the Fontana Regional Library Board of Trustees meeting to order. I want to start by welcoming Tony Monat. Am I saying it right?
You got it right first time.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
He is our newest Fontana Regional Library Board member, and we're glad to have you on board.
Glad to be here.
Do you want to say anything about your background and how you got to be here?
Wow. I'm a 23-year Air Force veteran. I'm a prior high school teacher and a little bit of IT, but I really shouldn't brag about that. Father of 3, 2-year-old teenagers, and my oldest son is at App State University. Go here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tony. Abby, do you want to do roll call? Sure. Okay. So, Margaret here. Wood Level.
Here.
Debbie Talent. Here. Tony Monat.
Here.
Cynthia Womble. Ellen Snodgrass. Rebecca Watkins. Floyd Sossamon. And Ed Trask. And because of that, which is a combination of vacations, which we have to let people do if they're planning a vacation, and illness, unfortunately, we have one member that was not feeling well today. We do not have a quorum, so we were able to discuss issues, but we will not be able to vote on issues today. With that, I would entertain any discussion on the minutes from our July 11th meeting. And if there's no discussion, a motion to approve.
Will you call?
Right, you can't.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we can't actually approve, that's why I'll have to defer that to the next meeting. All right, we did not have any, appeals for books to review this meeting. We did receive quite a bit of correspondence and communications, and those are being handled by the appropriate staff member from the FRL staff. Depending on whether it's a reference question, a financial question, or a policy question. But some of the inquiries did have some common themes, and so I'd like to take a moment to address those themes by reminding the board of our processes, and particularly for our newest member, what we've done in the last few months, and possibly that will inform the public as well. First, we had several comments around the collection development policy, which is included in our which is not included in our bylaws. It's a separate policy document, and it includes the process for how we review books at the FRL board. Following our bylaws, section 7.2, and Robert's Rules of Order, section 52, our chairperson in November of 2022 formed a committee to review that collection development policy and to make recommendations to the board on any potential changes that need to be made to that. The board reviewed and approved those committee recommendations at our January 2023 meeting. This version of the policy contained a requirement that we review a book within 30 days of an appeal and take action. As we put this into place, the board quickly realized that this could mean a variety of special meetings, often within a couple days of a regularly scheduled meeting. And that when there were only a few copies of the book available, it made it very difficult for the board to review that book on a timely basis. And so, at our June 2023 meeting, we asked that the policy be amended and approved that with the language that we would review the book at our next scheduled FRL board meeting. I don't know why, my tongue just rolls FRL. The intent of this was to review appeals at the next scheduled meeting after the appeal was received. And that was assuming that we all had a chance to read the book, read the materials from the library, and read the appeal from the patron. We have acted in accordance with that language, and if we need to clarify the language further, we will do so, but that is our intent. On June 13th, we had a book appeal that was received in plenty of time to review the materials at our next meeting in July, so the vote was made at that meeting. There was an email to the board asking if we were ready to vote or not. That was not to ask if we had made a decision about the book, but rather had we had adequate time to review the book, the appeal, and the materials from the library. The vote was taken after listening to the patron statement at the meeting and following procedures outlined in the collection development policy. We cannot meet by email. It is not allowed in our bylaws, and I'm not aware of any situation where we have ever met by email. Regarding public comments at the FRL board meetings, our bylaws outline an order of business for the FRL board meetings in section 4.6. At some point in the past, the FRL board deviated from this agenda in violation of our bylaws. The current board did not need to meet to vote to comply. Those were the bylaws. We have always and still welcome public comments, but to adequately address them, we request that they come in writing by noon the Friday before the meeting. Are there any questions from our board members about that process? Tony, I know you missed most of that, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of background on how we arrived where we were. Any questions? Great. Then we will move on to our next agenda item, which is the director's report.
Okay. So my report is a little different because we just wrapped up the first year of our long-range plan. And because both Margaret and Tony were not on the board during the process, I will tell you that this plan is a requirement of the state library. It is required for funding. It will be part of the package I turn in by September 15th, next Friday. That is this Friday. So we developed that plan with two consultants. The plan was funded by an LSTA grant from the state library. We applied for the grant and were awarded it. Ed Sherry and Dan Barron facilitated the long-range plan. The plan has to be a 5-year plan, and this one is 2022 through 2027. The planning process assessed community needs through a review of local demographic data, community surveys and interviews, and surveys with funders and community partners. So the community engagement, the survey was put out to the general public, to 7 county commissioners, or it was put out to all commissioners. 7 county commissioners completed it. The 3 county managers completed it. 4 town managers completed it. And all of those surveys were collated and broken down into what became our long-range plan. We also worked with staff engagement because we have to have the staff's buy-in in order for the long-range plan to work. So the plan was broken down from those things requested by our communities. It is developed under the, I always forget the name, the three-legged stool, that's how I think of it. It is the, what do they call it, Jack? Here. Triple bottom line, I think of a three-legged stool, made up of people, performance, and planet. There are 9 total goals, broken down, 7 goals under people, 1 under performance, and 1 under planet. Our long-range plan tries to mirror the North Carolina Public Library standards. This was rewritten in 2019, and I emailed you all a copy. It is broken down, and you can see it footnoted in this plan. So I did email this out to you. I will not read all 20 pages. I'll just go over some highlights. Our goal 1 was digital inclusion, and this goal was very successful, mostly due to a digital inclusion grant for $106,000 that we were awarded. That allowed us to hire 2 digital navigators that could tour the 3 counties, and we were able to give hotspots to people that needed them. We did classes at departments on aging. We did it in public schools, with the Hispanic community, a lot of one-on-one help inside the library. Senior Center in Macon County. And so that wraps into the 1.2 digital literacy. The whole digital inclusion goal, we were really lucky this year that it was very successful. Part of our goal was to offer public computers in library facilities with download speeds of at least 1 to 10 megs per user. It was increased to 1 to 10, has since been increased again from 10 to 100. And when our infrastructure upgrade is complete, we'll be able to offer 100 to 900. So that's a big step in the right direction. We also were able to increase our Wi-Fi for all of our patrons. Other things under digital inclusion, the digital navigators they developed a collection of documents to help staff with this strategy. They developed a North Carolina ISP list, so when patrons come in and say, I just moved here, who can I get internet with? They have a map which will tell you what's available in which area of the 3 counties. They developed an introduction to the Affordable Connectivity Program. Again, for people that may struggle to afford internet access in their home, this is a way to apply for cheaper access. We also have that in English and Spanish, and we also did one for the Koala Boundary. So that's probably enough for digital inclusion. You've heard a lot about that over the past year. Under
Just a question on that, Tracy, is there any progress on potentially extending that grant into the next year, or still too early to tell?
Jeff and I had a meeting with the extension office, which didn't pan out. They had already used all of theirs. I did speak with Marnie Harris, and she is interested in working with us from SEC. Also, when I was at the last directors meeting in Blowing Rock, they said the state library realized how much that worked for so many people that they are looking for funding for it. It won't be, this one ends September 30th. It probably won't be till next year, but we're spending time to try and make sure that works. Under health and wellness, which is our goal too, much of this is to do with the library collections in physical and digital formats to make sure that our collections are up to date, and include the priorities of the community health assessments, which are called CHIPs. They're prepared by the health department in each community, in each county. And we want to be able to work with them and match our collection with their goals for a healthier community. Each county has staff members that work with local health departments. We did complete an inventory in 2022 using our nifty new hand readers, and we were able to clean up our collections and do a lot of weeding to get rid of older books, not just in the health area, but in all the areas. And some ways that we promote health and purchase those books are by working with our health department. So if the group that in the health department that works with diabetes, they will give us book lists so that we have the appropriate ones. That way, if a patron goes to the health department and is told this would be a good book for you, they don't have to buy it. They can come to the library and get it. We offered a bunch of healthy activities in the library. One of the biggest hits is the chair fitness in Nantahala Community Library in Macon County. The active audio challenge to encourage people to walk while listening to books from our audiobook collection. We have Rock and Read. I know they do Mainspring walks here. I believe they walk down on the Greenway behind the library. Outdoor fun days and Steps into Health Kids Club and Yoga for Kids here at NCPL. We are also working to partner with a new program for libraries called Libraries for Heart, which is to facilitate, you've got the most input on that one. You're leading that charge.
Sure. So it is an exciting program that the American Heart Association provides, and they work with local health organizations. So for instance, our local health network, the large network is Mission Health, and the American Heart Association works with Mission Health, and they reach out to all the local health providers, not just the private providers, but also the community care clinic, the health department, all of the health resources for people on every financial scale. And they reach out and make sure everybody knows that if someone has heart issues, that they have newly developed heart issues and they're just trying to get a handle on them, they're new to this whole experience, they can come to the library and they would be able to check out a kit, an enclosed kit that the Heart Association would help us package. They would, and in that would be documentation and literature on how to use a blood pressure monitor, how to track that blood pressure over time, over the course of several weeks. So that a person can understand, this is my blood pressure in the morning, this is my blood pressure after I have my coffee, probably went up a little bit, and how that your lifestyle affects your blood pressure, so that a person can learn more about that and get a handle on things, or also track how well a new medication is working for you. The process is to give that accessibility to people at all levels of income, so that getting control on your health is not based on how much money you have or your resources. It's supposed to make it easy for you. So that's what that program is. We're gonna make it system-wide, and so they're also gonna help us do everything from press releases to staff trainings, so that our staff at all of our service desks and checkout desks can tell people, this is what this kit does, this is what's inside it, this is how it works, so that we can effectively answer people's questions on how to use that. So that's what the program is. We're hoping that we can get everything together as far as all of our local resources, all packaged up, our press releases and that whole system ready to go, hopefully by February, which is National Heart Health Month. So, but that's something that we're working on right now, and that's it.
Thank you, Abby. So, again, I know I've been this throughout the year, so you can all read, and if you have questions, get in touch with me. The telehealth services are available in 4 of our 6 libraries. That was another part of our, goal. And, the new Nantahala Community Library will have a Zoom room, hopefully, for private meetings. And the Marietta Black Renovation and Expansion will also offer private spaces. And the other thing under health is we will be doing our full safety and security training. All of the library staff are trained in the full on safety and security, alternate years. 1 year it will be first aid, and this year we're going to do first aid, and for some libraries, stop the bleed. So if we do have an active shooter, staff are prepared for active bleed training. And then next year we keep up our CPR certificates, so that way we can help any patrons in distress. Okay. Under education, again, you have heard about a lot of this throughout the year. The children's programming, the STEM program, especially Leap into Science and Balance, Wind, Light, and Shadows, the bilingual story times and Lego clubs, etc., are ongoing. We do have, the state library has also asked us this year to keep track of independent learning activities. We do scavenger hunts, board and busters, things that kids come to the library to do, not led by the library program, but access to individual activities. Macon started a pilot program, I believe, on 1,000 books before kindergarten. And there's regular team programs throughout our different libraries. We do work to support volunteers by accepting New Century Scholars or early college students. They can get their hours in at the library. And we have school visits from, we increased our class visits to the library, Mountain Discovery, We Read. I think, maybe I got the wrong one. Yeah, not official. We have multi-generational programming as well as in our family nights and our family science programs. And we have, we still maintain the Universal Plus and working with SEC and the Learning Express and Prep Step to work on GED and basic literacy skills for patrons. We have expanded outreach. As you all know, about a year and a half ago, we lost the Reading Rover. And while we look for grants to decide what we're going to do, if we're going to get a new vehicle, we are sending library staff out to daycares such as Webster Child Development, Great Beginnings, Learning Ladder, Children's Discovery Center, Heritage Christian Academy, Early Learning Center, a whole variety of places we're doing outreach to. And that's, we'll highlight it on. There's a lot more under education. Some of the things we will be working on is getting student access for private schools, because right now we do not have a system to do that. It's almost time to fun outside. Work and economy. We're doing what we have been doing all along, and I know Jeff's library is now the permanent office for NC Works. We are doing ongoing work with AARP for tax support, budgeting 101, and financial aid. We are exploring some library programs on financial literacy for spring 2024. So that will be in next year's report. We are also working on Retirement 101, smart money, and home buying. We have hosted job fairs around the region with SEC, NC Works, and Harris Job Fair. We, in an ongoing way, we do assist local businesses and entrepreneurs on an ongoing basis with small business development by offering them books on business planning, etc. Again, the private workspaces needed for people are available in 4 of our libraries, with 2 libraries looking to expand that in the next year or 2. We also partner with Project Search of SEC, WCU, and the State of Franklin Health Council for internships and allowing work for people in the retired community that wish to continue. I think Jeff met with State of Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
And so we'll start today.
Oh, good. Moving right along. Affordable living. We make sure that we have books in physical and digital format for people that wish to learn how to maybe put their crafts on Etsy and things like that. Ways to generate an income to add to their working income, or if they are working at home. The current trends in affordable living topics are purchased for the collections on an ongoing basis. We were asked to, by the community, to make sure staff were up to date on related community resources. So one of the things we're looking at doing at our spring training is to have members of different community groups available to go over what they offer the community, so that our reference staff and library employees can direct people where they need to be in the community. An Amnesty Week will occur in 2024. We usually do an amnesty every 3 or 4 years, something like that. We haven't done one since the end of 2020. Usually what we do is if people donate food that we can then donate to places like Community Table, we will forgive their fines. So that is in the works for 2024, hopefully. Under recreational leisure, this is sort of the bread and butter of the library, you know, the books, the programs we do. This year, all the libraries had an awful lot of programming. Ours was up in Jackson County by about 50%. I think it was very busy here with all the children's, both adult and children's. We did humanities in the public square. We've had Year of the Trail activities, as it is the North Carolina Year of the Trail. We've got Stitcher groups, hiking trails, movies, creating community, a whole variety of activities. Do you call yours Crafternoons? Or is that?
They started as Crafternoons, and I think she's moved away from that.
Oh,
phrase.
I know they
Yeah.
still do that in
Yeah.
Hampshire, so I like that word.
I do too.
Forming and maintaining partnerships throughout the community. We have partnerships with Nantahala Hiking Club, Friends of Panthertown, Uncomplicated Kitchens, a whole variety of different partnerships. The newest one in Jackson County is the WC Music Faculty, so they can offer music recitals on a regular basis at the library. Develop and maintain partnerships with community organizations to raise visibility of library services. These are the partnerships where we go out and about in the community to make sure they know what the library does. So we may be on Rotary, or a town and college board, the Department on Aging board, or Council on Aging, excuse me, and UNIDEX, just to make sure that all the other organizations in the communities know what we're up to. And I guess that also includes Full Bed. And the last one under people, or, you know, is that right? My throat is getting Staff support. We, 7.2, as you remember, back in July, we did add bereavement leave for our employees. That was not something we had previously. We also changed petty leave to personal leave and increased that, so that people could take care of things, without losing their vacation time. Things like, I don't know, a whole variety of stuff. If you're buying a house or doing anything like that. We did maintain our Blue Cross Blue Shield, NC insurance. It did go up by 6%. We were told to expect a 12% increase and, ended up with a 6% increase. Revive has continued. The people that appreciate it most are our part-time staff because they do not have any other benefit with the library, and that allows them telehealth and prescriptions sent to their home.
And Revive went down in price.
It did go down in price. It went like $12 a month per person. Yeah, half what it was, yeah. And the more people that use that, the more we're likely to be able to keep our premiums down on Blue Cross because we don't have as many hits against it. So that's something we're trying to encourage employees to use. Our employee assistance program person extended. He did not retire this June. He's extended till next June. So that will be moved to the next year's. We have to investigate a new person for that. Our annual in-service training, I have already reviewed with you. And the empathy skills and trauma-informed practices was completed at one library, and we hope to get that into the other libraries next year. Under performance, operational excellence, everything on this first 8.1 is complete. Lynn has kept you updated on the transfer from Banyan to Blackboard. You had a lot of fun doing that, Ms. Meredith. I know she had a lot of fun. So our payroll, all the training has been completed to use Financial Edge. The financial procedures are completely, they're redone for Blackboard and Edge NXT. And people can do online donations. And we still haven't got a way to pay our fines and fees through electronic payments. It's sort of expensive and we just haven't done that yet. We're looking at ways to do it. 8.2 is on hold while the regional agreement is being rewritten. So we'll have more to report on that later in the year or next year. Again, the same with the compensation for FRL employees. All of that is on hold while the regional agreement is being rewritten. Under the 8.4, we do have the FRL board minutes are on the website. That came a bit later than we suggested, but it is on there now. There is a separate page for board minutes and board information. And our committee for advocacy, marketing, and publicity hasn't really got together over the past year or two. So we will pull that back together to do targeted advocacy messages for library boards and friends of the library. The revision of the portal is ongoing, as will be the training once it's complete. We are still renovating the existing Mariana Black, well, starting to renovate it, and the new Nantahala library. The generator at Hudson Library is waiting on installation. Hopefully it'll be ready for the winter. And,
Tracy, and
Yes.
I might add that we'll soon be starting our upgrade at Hudson within the next probably 4 or 5 months. We're getting close to, a full-scale renovation, so,
in here for next year.
yeah.
Thank you, Lloyd. I handed out rather late Adam just handed that around. That is the technology plan. Everything pretty much on here, all of the aging workstations, many of which were 12, 13 years old, have been replaced, mostly due to the JRG fund and the non-recurring state funds we received last year. The workstations in the staff area are currently being replaced. The FRL network infrastructure is in process. We're just awaiting the equipment from the E-rate mini bid. The increase in fiber network speeds have been increased in 3 of 6 locations. The upgrade to the wireless is complete. The adding streaming services will be in the plan. It was hoped to be done by January 2026, so I think we still have time. We're way ahead on some of these. And also, we have a new target date for our phone service. We had estimated June 2027. Jim Walker now says June 2026 at the end of the current Frontier contract is the most likely. We have yet to do our assessment from the state library tool that I emailed you. We will have that, we will be working on that next year. And under environmental sustainability, the IT crew have replaced computers with mini computers that use 79%, they save 79% in energy savings. Lighting bulbs are being replaced as they go out, for the most part, around the building. Cleaning products are done by the county, so we don't really get to choose those. Install water bottle filling stations. Mariana Black has one. We just received a grant to replace 3 at JCPL, and now I'm working on grants for the other libraries. And that's about it. We did start using Upcycle, a Charlotte-based company who recycles all of our computer equipment free of charge, which is wonderful. We don't have to pay or fill up the local dump with all of it. And I think that basically covers that. Any questions about that? Or-
When did we transition from Tanya? When did we begin that? Lynn?
We started transitioning basically around October into November, and then we actually went live in January, 1st of January.
How's that transition coming? Are we completely away from
Yeah.
everything?
We're totally away from Banner.
Because I remember talking about it, and you said that, it's gonna be a much simpler, a fairly simple transition. Was it, or? No? You didn't talk? Okay. Are we there now? Have we?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
It's better.
And who wrote this technology plan? This is great to me, I can tell you. This is unbelievable. Was it you?
No, that was mainly Jim Walker.
Jim did?
He's our IT manager.
Someone could explain this to me.
When I read out his report stuff, I just read it out. I can't really necessarily explain what he's saying, but
Jim goes talking.
yeah, we just sit there and nod. He's working on keeping all of the equipment as up to date as we can, as safe as we can, because as you know, infiltration of services is happening all over the globe. He works really hard to keep us safe, to keep our patrons' information safe, all of that.
And Tracy, I remember working on this long-range plan
Yes,
all last year, or a year and a half or so. We
Yes.
knew it was coming, and this implementation of this long-range plan beginning in 22, I mean, it really is impressive. The libraries have done
yeah.
a
we've been
great
working
job
on it. Thank you.
with this. I mean, this is only year one, and this is what's going on. It's-
Mhm.
Yeah, really does. Look forward to next year. But
Yeah,
this is a
having-
good way, this is a good way to present it to us.
Okay, I'll remember that. This is the, well, year two is further in the agenda, so I will explain what we have planned for that, not in detail like that, it's just
Okay.
some ideas. The only other thing I wanted to say in my report, as I mentioned earlier, the state aid application is due on Friday. We've got about 50% of it done. As far as, there's two parts to it. There's the state aid application, and there's the public library survey. The public library survey collects pages and pages and pages of data. How many books went out? You know, how many audios went out? How many people used the library? How many people attended programs? How many mice we lent to patrons? It's just very, very, very broken down into everything we do. We have collected most of that work. The state aid package, has, 4 or 5 different parts. The first part has been completed. A local fund of maintenance of effort is sent to each county, so Macon, Jackson, Swain County managers have to sign that. And what we have to prove is that our, local funders, town and county, are funding at a certain level. If they, if their level goes down, what the money we get from the state library goes down. So luckily, over the past, as many years as I can remember, we, have maintained state funding, and we'll do so again this year. We have to put in maintenance of effort for in-kind and monetary contributions, an average maintenance of effort report and declaration, an assurance of professional librarians whose salaries are funded with the state aid certification, and compliance with the state aid eligibility rules. We also have to put in our 5-year-long plan and the bylaws of the Board of Trustees. So we're looking good to have that done by, hopefully Thursday, because we don't want to do it Friday at 4:45. So that will be, taken care of. No worries, no worries. Any questions about that?
Not about the state funding, but on the strategic plan, is there anything in it that you consider at risk? Things that
On the long-range plan, or on
that
the,
are either not able to be done because of something being on hold, or concern about ability to implement?
I would hate to see, as well as we've done this year, to see a drop in digital inclusion. The 2 people that have been our digital navigators, digital navigator angels, I think, they do so much. I have talked to them, explained where we are. We are looking at a very scaled back version to where they just help people inside the library. And then, once we get the funding, taking it back out to the schools, all the different places. Partly because they won't be able to travel, because this grant paid for all of their mileage and all of the computers that were used and everything like that. So I would hate to see that, decline. I would, some of the one section, funding, some of that stuff will hinge on the regional agreement, but that's a work in process, so I don't have too many concerns in that area. For the most part though, I think we're rolling along.
I, informally saw Wild Hawk, just happened to bump into him at Deep Creek over the weekend, and, he said that he feels optimistic that next cycle that he will be able to help us with those funds through the, ag extension.
Yeah, yeah. So that would be more money for that program.
Just a,
So there may be, gaps. But no, I don't have, I guess I worry about Bryson City's expansion and that. It's just, do we have sewer pipes in the middle of the road or things like that? It's just, but it's going really well. It's just delayed somewhat.
I have a report.
Yeah, and then a Halo also has been delayed several times, so, but nothing that keeps me up at night. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions for Tracy on general report? All right, Lynn, you're up with financial reports.
Okay. Just wanna make sure y'all got, my information last week. As y'all know, we have to wait on the Bank Institute to send out our information so we can reconcile all our information before we can actually do the financials to send out. And, quick as we get that done, that's when we send it out, and that's when the information goes. We have been working with the auditors this past, couple months. We were actually supposed to have our auditors this week, however, they showed up in August. So, it was, one of those things, you know, are you ready for us? And, luckily Meredith and I said, yeah. So just come on. So, we were able to have everything ready, and Meredith has been, graciously sending a lot of documents to them, and so we were up to speed, so we were okay. And then Friday of last week, they requested more documents, and at the last meeting, you know, that's normal for auditors to do. They will be here in November to do their presentation, and after that presentation, they will submit it to the state for the state to review. And then when the state reviews it, they will actually, send us their comments, and, from there, they will be final. And then we will be able to send it out to the local governments and, to, our vendors and et cetera, whoever is our, contributions to us. That way, we'll be legal, and then starts all over again. So I'm just gonna kind of give you a little bit of highlights due to the fact that we're not gonna be able to make any, votes or anything, so we can adopt anything. So just kind of give you some highlights on what we've done. As you know, we have closed out 22-23, and, one of the things is we have rolled over, and, one of the things is, it kind of looks like it's a lot of money, but we basically reduced, last year's budget a little over $400,000. It is not that much that we've reduced it. We've actually rolled it over into this year's budget because of projects and grants that we have, that goes over into multiple years. And a lot of projects and materials that have been purchased in last year's budget, as y'all know, when you purchase something in the past, a lot of times we purchase it, and it may take it 2 or 3 months to get it, because the supply stream is just not there yet. It's not built up there yet. And so some of the libraries have just not got the materials yet. And so that's the reason it's rolled over into this year's budget. And that's the reason we rolled it over into the cycle. And so that's the reason those funds is rolled over into that. And that's the reason we have to make that that adjustment into this year's budget and also in last year's budget to make it work. And the auditors, we have to make them aware of what we have done, and so that's the reason we have done that. And we make that adjustments, and that way we can make their budgets balance, when we make the new budgets, be able to make it balance as well.
Will
Yeah.
not voting on this today, Lynn, cause any problems with the audit?
No.
So we don't need to schedule a special meeting just to,
We have already presented that to them, and they're aware of what we have done, and so they already know what we have got in place. So when we take and make the adoptions, we'll be good to go. And, as Tracy indicated on, some of the non-recurring funds, we have received $189,000 last year, and those funds was be able to use to be able to update some of our software and stuff, and then we were actually hit with another audit. We were notified that we were done to get that done, and we submitted all the documents and stuff and got that. And, we were asked to submit some more information, and we were able to get that submitted today, and we got that updated, so we're in great shape on that. And,
Lynn, sorry, I learned about that audit when I was in Blowing Rock. The state had asked the state library to do an audit on the grants and how grant funds were used and tracked. So that's what that was about.
so we're in good shape on that, so because we have to report on that each quarter, and so we were fine on that, so we already had all the documents in place. Only thing we had to do is just scan it to them, so we were good on that, so we didn't have no issues on that. And, one of the things is, in this year's budget, we had some updates on updating some of the programs and also the licenses that we were gonna take, and we had some of the licenses gonna increase over the year, next year's budget. And some of the auto vision and outreach was gonna be increasing, and, the total amount was gonna be overall, the budget was gonna be a $37,000 increase, and we were just gonna take and increase that, in which we can do that in November, so there won't be no issues with that. And, the next thing was, we were gonna take and ask the board to adopt a resolution, and that was the expansion for Miranda Black, to be able to allow them to, go into, the expansion process, allowing them to expenditure some monies that they have been donated to them for monies to purchase, furniture, different things, being able to, hire someone to be able to go out and write grants, to be able to get some additional monies, to go out and reach for those resources, to be able to help get those funds in, to be able to secure those funds to get the, the nails driving and getting Jeff up there painting and everything else, whatever he needs to do. So to be able to get that done. And, the next thing was, the sale of the freestyle, as y'all know, when
sorry,
that was the last.
Lynn, before we leave the resolution,
I'm sorry.
is that gonna cause a problem if we wait to do that in November? No.
We already had submitted that to them, so we're okay on that as well. Everything that we're talking about, we've already submitted it to them, and so they have documents of all of them. The bid process on the freestyle, as you know, we talked about this at the last board meeting, and I sent an email out to all board members about what we had. And, on the bid process, the lowest bid we received was $505, the highest bid was $1,650. We had a whole lot of people come by and look at it, but when they see how many miles it had on it, it had over 216,000 miles on it. I don't know how many miles Macon County put on this. At least
$216,000.
Wheels off of that rig, you know, I don't know what it is. But it was in actually good shape, it was actually good shape, really. But, we did get a little over 1,600 miles off of it, $1,600 out of it, so. The lady out of Pineville, North Carolina won the bid on it, so she accepted it, so we was able to sell it. The next thing is, the digital grant, the inclusive grant that, Tracy indicated on. We have, spent about 80% of those funds, and, the state has refunded up to about 67% of that thus far, so we have remaining about a little over $21,000 to, spend thus far, and, that grant ends September the 30th, and so, we have remaining, those funds left to, expend on that. And, as Tracy indicated, Jackson County has received,